A lot of stuff that we consume in the US is made in China, whether that's clothing or shoes or electronics or furniture. Look around and check the labels and tags in your home. Maybe you're one of the 78 million monthly Temu users and have taken a chance on the $5 hoodies or the $12 drones on the site. You've probably already heard about this new round of tariffs that Donald Trump has imposed on goods the US imports from China. But within the executive order, there's a change to a little-known law that could change the way we buy things online from sites like Temu and raise the price of Chinese goods for US consumers.
It's the shopping app at the top of the Google Play and Apple app stores, Temu.
It's everywhere and it's dirt cheap.
Over the last few years, discount store Temu and ultra-fast fashion site Shein have gained massive popularity in the US, thanks to their bargain bin prices. $8 security cameras or $30 suits. But the items come from faceless sellers, with experts warning there's a high chance that child labor or forced labor is involved in manufacturing. Temu's slogan is "Shop like a billionaire," and US shoppers have become accustomed to waiting a little bit longer for their online purchases in exchange for low prices. Part of the reason these prices are possible is because of something called the de minimis exemption. Using the de minimis exemption, packages valued under $800 can enter the US duty-free, meaning the importer doesn't have to pay import taxes. By shipping directly to consumers, companies like Shein and Temu don't need the vast warehouses that Amazon has. They don't need much of a footprint in the US at all. The de minimis exemption has been around for nearly 100 years, but it's more relevant now than ever before. About a decade ago, the de minimis threshold was increased from packages under $200 to $800 after lobbying from companies like eBay and Etsy. The number of packages claiming the exemption has skyrocketed from 139 million a year in 2015 to over 1.36 billion in 2024. Even Amazon has tried to get in on the action. Seeing competition from Temu and Shein, last November, Amazon launched a marketplace called Amazon Haul that's filled with cheap items you might see on Temu. One of the billion de minimis packages that came into the US last year was my Amazon Haul order. I bought women's clothing, tech accessories, a neon lamp, and more, and all of that was just $27. Unlike typical Amazon Prime products, this order came to me all the way from China, and because of de minimis, entered the US without me having to pay duties. Now that Trump has killed de minimis, all of those low-value packages showing up to our homes will get taxed, whether they're from Amazon or a small business based in China. And it's not just the new 10% tariff that would be added to my Amazon Haul order now. All the usual tariffs that the order was avoiding will now also be applied. My order would be subject to Trump's new 10%, plus the standard tariff that is assessed based on item categories, plus additional tariffs on Chinese goods that Trump introduced during his first presidency. It adds up quickly. As you can imagine, without the de minimis exemption, a lot of companies will need to rethink their business model. Shein and Temu don't have the vast warehouse and logistics operations that Amazon does in the US. Dropshippers' entire business model is beholden to cheap imports delivered directly to consumers. And as I've written previously, the writing has been on the wall for a while. The Biden administration last year suggested tightening the rules around de minimis, and now the Trump administration seems to have killed it. These ultra-cheap goods American shoppers have gotten used to suddenly might not be very appealing. It also will likely raise costs for small businesses that import components, supplies, and parts from China to make things domestically, which in turn is likely to raise prices for consumers. Trump's broader tariffs on China will touch a lot of industries. The tech industry relies heavily on China to build phones, gadgets, and gaming consoles. And China dominates in clean energy supply chains for things like solar panels. As we've seen this week, Trump treats tariffs like a political bargaining chip to get what he wants from other countries. This week, Trump attempted to impose tariffs on Mexico and Canada, but they were paused for a month, pending increased border measures. Given Trump's track record, it's unclear if they'll happen at all. But tariffs are one of Trump's favorite policies, and it's likely we haven't heard the last of them. Late last night, USPS announced that they would not be accepting inbound packages from China and Hong Kong. This is, I think, very clearly related to the new broad 10% tariffs, but also the fact that they're getting now millions of packages a day from China. Customs has to inspect, levy the duties. Like, this is a task that our workforce is not prepared for. So last night, USPS says we're not going to accept these anymore. This morning, they've reversed course and said, actually, we will accept them, and we're working on systems to make sure it's compliant with the new tariffs, but they don't have the system in place. And some experts actually told me that we probably will see delays with USPS. So it is, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. USPS is typically like the last mile carrier for packages that come from China, right? And then they get passed on to USPS. So there's a huge burden on the post office now. You know, they need to figure out what to do with all these things.